The bell means meditation is over, you've survived, and I speak for a few minutes about a Buddhisty, mindfulisty sort of topic. In the tradition I was taught, these are spontaneous talks without notes or thinking, and it's believed that if you're just speaking from the heart as a sort of stream of consciousness, it's more honest and it's more authentic and it's more in tune with the group that you're speaking to. So as we've got new people today, my only thought was, I'll go over the basics and a bit of an introduction, and beyond that I haven't really thought. I guess the reason why people sit and meditate and the things that we're trying to do in life with we're trying to become more mindful can seem like two very different things. Like, how is sitting and noting the sensations of the body or following the breath gonna do anything for me? And and there is an element of it not trying to change who we are, but there is an element of trying to become happier, and I think that's why we're all here, because we do cause ourselves mental suffering, and the Buddha said that the cause of mental suffering is due to not understanding of the nature of reality. We all agree that we've mentally suffered from time to time, and that cause of suffering is because we don't understand that the nature of reality. So what is suffering? It's getting things that you don't want and not getting things that you do want. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and despair, old age, sickness and death. These are all things that will cause us suffering. And there is an inherent suffering in life, that we do go through physical pain, and that cannot be avoided. The pain of old age, sickness and death can't be avoided, but what can is the multiplication of this suffering through our own mind. If someone were to insult us and then walk away, that person only intended on insulting us once, but if we keep recalling it over and over and over again, we're multiplying that suffering, that recalling that time that person has said something, and we do need to assert boundaries, and we do need to and being a doormat isn't the goal, but multiplying our own suffering by going over and over things in our head, or worrying about a future that hasn't happened, it isn't helpful. Planning for eventualities is helpful, but worrying isn't, and it's easy to cross the line. And where meditation comes in is that the habit of the mind is to go to the past or go to the future. The mind can't think of the present, it can only experience the present. So if our mind isn't tamed, if the mind is just left to wander, it will wander towards the past and the future, and it will create, additionally, it will create a sense of self, and these senses of self cause suffering. If we've got a negative self view, that's the suffering is quite easy to see. But But even if we have a positive self-view, that can also cause suffering, because then we're trying to maintain this positive sense of self. So when we do something stupid in front of other people, when we all do stupid things, then we're suffering, because we don't want other people to see how stupid we really are and how daft we really are. So if we, rather than thinking that we're a good person or a bad person, just seeing ourselves as better than some, not as good as others, and when we're being daft, we're better than some, not as good as others, and when we think we've said something clever, it's better than some and not as good as others, and seeing ourselves as a mixture of things, and not knowing how much good or how much bad there is in us, and letting go of that need to create a self, whether positive or negative, and all of these things that's created by the mind cannot be created in the present moment awareness. So when we sit and we concentrate on the breath or the body, the mind isn't used to it. The mind isn't used to living in experience. It's used to creating a reality on top of real reality, and it's this removal of this fictitious created reality and locking into the present moment it helps us get out of our head. And we've all been too far into our heads and not seen reality, and meditation and bringing ourselves back into the present moment, and then noticing the mind wanders, and then bringing it back to the present moment, and then thinking about what we're going to have for dinner, and then remembering we should be meditating. And that's all part of the process of bringing the mind back to present moment awareness. And then for 3 seconds we realise it's actually quite nice sitting without worrying. And then if we keep meditating for 10 seconds, it might be nice without worrying. And then we notice that when someone annoys us, we're only angry for 8 minutes, when last week we were angry for 10 minutes. And because we're catching ourselves in these trains of thought slightly earlier, and it's not about removing things. It's not about becoming without an ego. It's not about becoming without anger. It's about just trying to have a little bit less anger in our hearts than we did yesterday. And removing anger is like a theoretical concept. Like, how can you live without anger when there's so many annoying people in the world? But if we say, how can we be slightly less annoyed by the annoying people in the world, wouldn't we be slightly happier? And that's the practice that we get. Just in meditation, we're catching ourselves, our mind's wandering, and we bring it back to the breath. And then in regular life, when we're driving and someone cuts in front of us, we catch ourselves getting grumpy slightly earlier, and it's that practice of catching our minds before it really multiplies the suffering is where meditation can help. But it's meditation, for me, meditation should be fun, because if you're trying to get out of it and you're trying to be a better person, you're never going to keep up with it long enough to get any results. But if you can do it for funsies without trying to get anything out of it, for me, I ended up surprising myself when I became less grumpier, because or when bad things happen, I surprised myself. Like if I think I had a bicycle stolen, and it was quite an expensive bike, and I was expecting to be quite upset and angry, and I was almost shocked that I wasn't, and I was like, I guess it's that meditation that's not making me as angry as I thought I should be, and letting things go sooner, and that for me is a byproduct of just enjoying sitting down. And we'd all like to be able just to sit alone in a room without worrying about things, and that ability to just sit and be content with ourselves, without entertainment in the form of other people or food or television or music, and if we can just sit in silence and that being enough, that's truly a wonderful gift, and that's a gift that meditation can give us if we're enjoying practicing. So hopefully this has been a slightly pleasant experience for people new to the class, because often meditation isn't a very friendly beginner sport. So hopefully people have enjoyed themselves, and if there's anything you want to ask me, that now is the time for questions. And Amodana Sadhu.